So if you've been in the game of trying to improve your art, you probably heard of this advice and you tried it at some point to absolutely go all in and draw every single day. But I'm here to tell you that that might not actually work.
Sorry to burst your bubble.
Because I've been there and I experimented with that, but after a while, I felt like something is missing. My art isn't looking the same way as before. It doesn't have the vibrance that once had, and that scared me. So I started to look at all the practices that I was doing, and I started to see the pattern in my practices. What I would do is to start with a reference, and I would copy that reference and I would just move on to another painting. Like, that is all I did all day long, every single day for 30 days. And then I felt like, yeah, probably just like I am getting faster at the drawing part, but I am actually doing nothing productive here. All I'm doing is to just repeat the same process and not even pay attention to the specific part of the painting that I need to pay attention to, and just doing it over and over and just like not knowing what to do. Oh my God, I was like in a panic mode, okay? I was like, no, but I want to do this challenge. I'm gonna do this challenge no matter what the result of my drawings are gonna be. It's just like it was really something that I wanted to experiment with. And I learned my lessons. If you want to do this challenge, well, you should do it with a proper knowledge of how to actually practice art. It's not about quantity when it comes to art and when it comes to anything, if I were to be honest. It's like mostly about quality and not about the quantity. Like, you have to really study the images or anything that you're drawing with intensity, not just a surface level of just drawing it because you want to draw it every single day. That doesn't work. And if you want to get into the game of drawing faster, that's another thing that I talked about in another video. You can check that out. But mostly, what you are doing here is to learn how to draw, which, by the way, is not actually gonna happen because of this practice if you don't know what to do. And I also started to notice something else. I started to notice that my motivation is actually been reduced. Not that I'm like not motivated to draw anymore, but like I felt like there's a boss telling me to absolutely draw right now today, and you should draw tomorrow as well, and you should draw the day after tomorrow as well. Like, I was constantly just really adding this pressure to myself. I'm not saying that pressure isn't good, because like in art, you should challenge yourself as hard as you can. But if it doesn't really work for you and you feel like you're absolutely being counterproductive, that there's something in that. Like, there's some wisdom in listening to your intuition. And for me, it was like that. It was like me not having any motivation because I felt like it's an obligation and I need to fulfill it and I need to just do it because I need to do it. If there is a need for something, my creativity just like crashes. I don't know how, but it just does that. My creativity doesn't allow me to force myself. But of course, I love pushing myself in other areas, and it really helps me to get into the game. But in art specifically, that's not the case for me. I don't know about you guys. Maybe leave a comment down below. Just tell me if you actually feel good drawing every day, because I am feeling dizzy after a while of drawing. And I'm really scared of burnout when it comes to art, because when it happens, I feel like I don't want to draw forever. Like, I want to never pick up a pen anymore. It is gonna go hard on me. I'm not gonna feel motivated to draw at all anymore. So that's why I actually just avoid it. So instead of drawing every single day, you could be doing something else. You could be balancing it out by studying, drawing, and then resting. Resting means you're doing something else. You're just spending your time in other creative activities that are not drawing. So I think that is the best diet for your creative mind to really fester creativity, because when you spend your time wandering around just doing other stuff, you're allowing your brain to reflect upon the experiences that you had before and to actually understand what those were. And so I think that any anything that you do, you have to take your time to reflect after it, because if you don't do that, you're gonna be blind to your mistakes and you're not gonna see your faults, because you're always just tunnel visioning yourself into that narrow-mindedness sort of like zone, and it's not gonna help you. You have to just distance yourself from your painting for a while and then look back on it, see what mistakes you've made and what you could be doing better, and everything else is just gonna become clearer as a consequence of you just taking your time to do other stuff and see the world in a slightly different way, so that you're not seeing the same thing and not noticing what is wrong with that thing. I don't know if it makes sense, but that's what I do with myself. Like, I always really take my time to reflect upon the learnings. Otherwise, it's not gonna stick. You have to really cement them by doing other activities that are actually creative, but not in the same area, so that your brain is, connecting those dots. And when you do that, your well of knowledge and your well of creativity just expands, because you're now multiplying your creativity and your ideas. And then when you come back to draw, you have a head full of idea and everything is gonna become easier. So it's not about the quantity, it's about the quality. The quality of your practices is gonna exceed the quantity of your practicing. So it actually reminds me of something I came across before in a movie, I guess. I don't even remember what the name of that movie was. Half of what they learned to become a fighter was to just move their hand in the right way. So they would just wash the windows of the cars and try to wipe them off. And that was the practice to become a fighter. And see, like, most of the practices that we do to become a certain type of personality, it's not really directly related to that specific area. What I think happens is just that you take those intense amount of exercises with a period of rest, and that is absolutely just gonna make everything just move faster. It's really more about working on your skill rather than just telling yourself that you've done 30 days of painting. There's no gaining knowledge after that period either. So let me read you a quote from Abraham Lincoln, which it's really like a famous quote, but I'm gonna read it anyways. It goes like this: give me 6 hours to chop down a tree and I will spend the first 4 sharpening the axe. So if you're a creator of any type, when you're spending your time on another creative task which is not really related to your work, it's also going to reinforce your will of creativity. I'm not saying that you should just spend every hour of your day on other creative tasks that are not even related to you. No, I am saying that you could be intentional about all the other activities that you do, and you could pay attention to every fabric of those activities and see what you could do in order to improve upon your own area. You know what I mean? It's like you can take inspirations from a varieties of sources, and it shouldn't really be the same activity that you do for your own work. If anything, it should be something that is outside of that activity, so that your mind is much more open to receive that. And that was it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you have a nice week.